Hello, everyone. My name is Veselinović. I come from Faculty of Philosophy of Belgrade, and I'm a third-year archaeology student and also a member of the Archaeology Students Club. And today I'm going to talk about some interesting and very important topic. And I'm sure that a lot of you don't really connect words understanding and respecting differences and respect for minorities and tolerance with Middle Ages, and it's totally okay because it's some kind of a common place for everyone who think about Middle Ages. But here I have a good example, which is actually a case study of Roman Catholic parishes within the medieval Serbian state. So to better understand this topic, we need to understand the Serbs and church commitment. Serbs, as a part of Slavic tribes, came to Balkans in the 7th century during the reign of Emperor Heraclius I and were Christianized through the East Adriatic coastal cities. And they also, as Croats, took Christianity from Rome. But that Christianization didn't really carry out well because they still had a lot of pagan traditions, and they needed to be re-Christianized again in the 9th century during the reign of Emperor Basil I. And in that moment, in 9th century, they established their loyalty to Byzantine Empire, which later became the loyalty to Orthodox Church, but that orthodoxy didn't stop medieval Serbian rulers, Veselinović dynasty, and also later Nemanjić dynasty, to cooperate and to negotiate and work together with Catholic priests and Pope and Catholic rulers. And a great example of that is actually an example of rebellion towards Byzantine Empire by the Veselinović dynasty, who took Catholic Christianity and sided with Rome, with Pope, in those wars with Byzantine Empire. And also the moment when Serbian Nemanjić dynasty became King dynasty was in 1217, when the papal legate crowned Stefan I crowned in this wonderful monastery, which you can see here, Žiča Monastery, that later became the coronation temple for a lot of other rulers of Nemanjić dynasty. Adriatic coast and Raška region became united under one ruler, and it's the father of this king that I already mentioned, and it's the Stefan Nemanja. So all the Catholic believers became united with the Orthodox believers in the whole country, and rulers of Nemanjić dynasty didn't really intend to change those religious conditions and didn't want to convert Catholic believers to Orthodoxy because they saw them as a regular citizen of their kingdom, and they saw them as a regular and equal subjects of theirs. And a great example of that they were protectors of those citizens, also as same as Orthodox believers. And a king example of that protector is King Uroš I, who took Archdiocese of Bar under his protection in the war for the jurisdiction when Archbishop of Dubrovnik wanted to take over Archdiocese of Bar. Also, the political negotiations which I already mentioned were held between King Milutin and Emperor Stefan Dušan with the Pope when the first attacks of Ottoman Turks were in the 14th century, and Emperor Dušan considered himself captain of Christianity, and he negotiated with Pope for alliance in those wars. When you talk about Catholicism in Serbia, certainly the most important thing is immigration of Saxon miners and later merchants from the eastern coast of Adriatic Sea, but also merchants from Florence, Padua, and Venice. And that was brought by the economic boom, which started in 1241 when Saxon miners came to first mining center of medieval Serbia, which was Brskovo. That's the city in today's Montenegro, but it was the first economic and mining center of medieval Serbia. King Uroš I brought Saxon miners in Serbia, but also he allowed the first merchants from Adriatic coast, from Dubrovnik, to settle in Brskovo. In the times of religious conflict between Split, Dubrovnik, Bar, and Durrës, also called in medieval Serbia Drač, were very turbulent times, but those conflicts were completely out of control at certain moment, and Pope and Serbian king intervened. However, this did not negatively affect the social and spiritual lives of Catholic believers, but the conflict remained at that level of high leaders, and Catholic believers could live normally and freely. But when we talk about good things, we also need to mention that there were some rules and regulations and also things that were prohibited. And that...
Da nije Passat, izvinjavam se, da nije Passat, sivi područji tablica nekog vas zaglavije vozila neka, ako je samo vaš.
Koja su tablice?
Passat, auto. Nije, izvinjavam se.
Ništa. Okay. Those prohibitions were mentioned in the Articles 6, 7, 8, and 9 in the Dušan's Code, and it was regulating and forbidding Catholic priests to convert Orthodox Serbs to Catholicism, but except that they had total freedom of worship and church building, and they were guaranteed to both Saxon and merchants of rights and independence of church, and they were tried according to their church law, and they had their own consuls and custom officers, and all these things that I already mentioned are written in Dušan's Code, in the mining law of Novo Brdo, in city statutes of Rudnik, Novo Brdo, but also in documents of Catholic parishes in Pristina, in Novo Brdo, in Prizren, in most of Catholic parishes on territories of medieval Serbia, in today's central Serbia and Kosovo. And also there is a document called Lamenta de Foris, which was written in the medieval Serbia and also medieval Bosnia, where all the troubles and damages and complaints that merchants had were documented, but there was not a single document on problems of religion. Also, the fact that the spread of Catholicism among the settlers was not prohibited is also confirmed by the fact that in the 15th century, the number of Catholics in Serbia was higher than ever before, and Dubrovnik also guaranteed citizenship to wealthy Serbs. And the last thing you can see here on the slide is jus patronatus, and that means the right of an individual or a community that founded and supported a certain church to actively participate in the election of rector and the resolution of all important issues related to the respective place of worship. I already mentioned Brskovo, and it was the first mining center and trading center of medieval Serbia. First mention dates back to 1243, when Kotor Archive recorded data on the development of wine trade, and it was famous for their production of silver, electrum, copper, wax, and leather, and merchants from the sea brought textiles, wine, and spices. It had two Catholic churches, a Church of Saint Mary and a Church of Saint Nicholas. Church of Saint Mary is interesting example because Heinz de Bibanis, he was of Saxon origin, and he gifted that church to Dominican order from Dubrovnik, and they agreed that they will take care of it and hold services regularly. And for me, it's an interesting example of cooperation between people of German origin and also those Slavic and Italian origin traders. This settlement is mentioned in papal writings from 1303 and 1346 as in the list of Catholic parishes in medieval Serbia, and it was, as I mentioned, the problems between those high bishops and priests and everything. It was a place of disputes among the archbishops of Kotor, Bar, and Dubrovnik, and Queen Jelena intervened, and with the cooperation with the Pope, it came under the jurisdiction of Archbishop of Bar. Here you can see actually a little fragment from the Church of Saint Nicola from Brskovo. And continuing with another settlement, it's Rudnik. Rudnik is located in today's central Serbia, and it's the mining center with the largest number of Catholic churches. It had 5 churches: Church of Saint Mary, Church of Saint Blaise, who was patron saint of the city of Dubrovnik, Saint Stephen's Church, Church of Saint Euphemia, which was place of pilgrimage for Dubrovnik people, and Chapel of Saint Trifon, who was patron saint of city of Kotor. And Church of Saint Mary was often mentioned in the wills of wealthy merchants as the recipient of gifts, monies, candles, and relics, and donors of these churches were most likely buried in the necropolises around the churches, while some of the wills explicitly require it. In addition to gold and goods, they also donated horses and materials for building and rebuilding these churches. And this settlement had a Saxon notary, and also notable families from Dubrovnik held the position of customs officials. And it was also with Brskovo and later with Novo Brdo was written and mentioned in the list of parishes in papal documents. And Saxon prince governed the city, but people from merchants from the seaside were accepted from his rule, and they were tried according to their own church law. And we come to my favorite site, which is Novo Brdo. It is located in today's southern Serbia provinces, Kosovo and Metohija, and in those days, Middle Ages Serbia, it was in central Serbia. Middle Age Central Serbia. It is the largest and most numerous Catholic settlement, and it's reached its peak in the 15th century. It had 2 Catholic churches, the Church of Saint Mary, so-called Saxon Church, and the Church of Saint Nicholas. The Catholic population was mostly from Dubrovnik, and they achieved a great reputation here and hold prestigious state positions, such as, for example, Dum Ivan, who was protovestiarius of Princess Milica, and it was one of the highest state positions in those times. But also famous scholars and church dignitaries came from Novo Brdo, such as Martin Segon, who came from Novo Brdo and became Bishop of Olcin. Also Dominican Valerius de Novomonte, who was in really good relationship with the Pope, and he provided Novo Brdo with guaranteed church administration even during the Ottoman rule. And for example, the priest of Novo Brdo, a native of Ulcin, Marin Kalende, who became the Archbishop of Bar after serving in Novo Brdo. Novo Brdo, as I already told you, had its own law before the time of despot Stefan Lazarević, considering that he mentioned it during the reign of Emperor Dusan and Prince Lazar, and he especially devoted himself to the issue of the city, his law on mines. It is known as the mining law of Novo Brdo, and the Article 20 of this law concerns Catholic priests and non-observance of that rule of non-Christianization of Serbian people. Here on the picture, you can see the complex of the Church of Saint Mary, and that was the Saxon church founded by those miners in the imitation of German churches in their homeland. A necropolis with more and less complex burials was formed in that complex, and it's extremely rich archaeological site, and the presentation of the results of would deserve a separate lecture. And that church was renovated several times and was finally destroyed during the Ottoman rule, while the Church of Saint Nicholas was converted into a mosque in 1444. In addition to the churches of Novo Brdo, also had the hospital financed by the people of Dubrovnik, and it was called the Hospital de Novo Monte. And when you talk about Saxon Church, research on this site went through a very turbulent period from the beginning of excavations in 1952 until 1968, when they were stopped completely, and smaller surveys were followed in 1989, after which there was no talk of new campaigns until 2014, when smaller reconnaissance surveys were carried out. Unfortunately, the excavations were sabotaged by local criminal organizations in 1955, and after 1 year of suspension of work, archaeologists were faced with a destroyed necropolis and broken tombstones. As we had the opportunity to see, the Catholic population of medieval Serbia had protection and all religious rights, even in times of conflicts between the Serbian rulers, the Pope, and the Catholic clergy. Unfortunately, the dead in the modern age do not seem to have anywhere near the peace and honor that living minority communities enjoyed in the medieval state. Although the Middle Ages are often portrayed as dark and cruel, we need to ask ourselves if we are in a position to assign such epithets to someone when religious inequality is very present today, certainly more so than in medieval Serbia, when not a single case of destruction was recorded in the cemeteries of religious minorities. And here you can see the picture of the situation on the site after the criminal organization action in the 1955. And that would be it. Here's my list of used literature and photography sources. If you have any questions, I'm here.
We are still thinking about food and coffee powder. Thank you for interesting presentation. You mentioned also Bauo, which I noticed, and I saw in the literature. So if you can show us more the list of the literature, because of a friend and colleague of mine.
Actually, I use their literature.
And Mitrović Katarina, is this Mitrović Ka?
Yeah.
Nice.
I want to say and really thank my professor from philosophy faculty of Belgrade, Dejan Radičević, who helped me with theme for presentation and who gave me this example of understanding and tolerance, because like everyone, I came with the idea, I want to make something that shows the respect and tolerance in Middle Ages, but I don't really have anything specific in my mind. And he was like, why did you choose that subject? It's not common. And then he was like, maybe I have an interesting example, and gave me this. And then with the cooperation with history department also in our faculty, I came with this presentation.